I was the youngest out of seven kids, and I remember living on Granger Street when I was like, and then once we lived at in some little bitty shack behind the police station.
Oh, okay.
All of us was in there, you know what I mean? And then we finally got the house. We moved to Granger down the street to Loveland and Granger, on that corner house, and that's where I went to Suva school, and then when everything changed, we moved on the other side of Bell Gardens. I don't quite remember what year it was. It was early 70s, 72, 73. And my oldest brother, is one that started that clique, because there was a gang called Barrio Chicos, BC. They used to tag the walls and stuff. I was a little kid.
Oh, okay.
And my brother got the clique going. He was Chic. Chic was like, he was the one that always graffitiing the walls up. So anyway, this other clique called BC, Barrio Chicos, was the Mexican gang, and then there was a guy named Henry that was in the White Boys gang, but he was a Mexican. And this BC didn't like that Henry was in a White Boy gang, like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So they started beefing with BC. Now I was a little guy at the time, and my brother, had started the clique, and all those little dudes were called BG White Boy Tinies. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
And some of us started taking on the nicknames of the older dudes that was around. So and once the guys from BC, now their little brothers or their sons or whatever it was that were my age, when they come to be teenagers and stuff like that, they got into the King Cobras.
Okay.
So that's how we kind of started beefing with the King Cobras, because remember one time the big fellas sent us down and kind of jumped these two guys that were walking down the street, and there was a guy named John Simpson. They called him Sleepy in King Cobras.
Okay.
And we went to school together, so that's how we knew each other. So when that little fight went down, it just went from there. You know what I mean? All the years, and we used to hang out on Quinn Street for years. The White Boys down one side, the King Cobras lived on Quinn and Eastern, and there was apartments right there. There's little ran down apartments.
Oh yeah, I know exactly where that. Yeah.
Yes. Well, that little fight behind Quickway, that all came to fruition because the ex-con from the King Cobras and Paeso from the King Cobras, I went to school with them at junior high, but all the other fellows, they went to high school already. They was already in high school, you know what I mean? So I was like junior high down there by myself. Well, them two dudes jumped me. So I got black eyes or whatever. And then once the older fellas seen me, they said, "What happened?" I told them what happened. I said, "Paeso and ex-con, they jumped me in school, blah, blah, blah." So what happened, they said, "All right, Mark," everybody got together and we was kind of walk down that area, and they hid behind cars and dumpsters, and they had me walk down Quinn Street right in front of their apartments, but across the street from them. And sure enough, they was all hanging out there at their apartment. And as I walked by, they come to get me. And before they got to me, everybody popped out from their little hiding spots, and that's how the fight pursued from there. You know what I mean?
Oh wow. Okay.
But but back then there was really no guns and shit involved in that little trip. But some of the stories you heard about were true, because I remember the time at Bell Gardens Park too, when that fight went down. So but it all started back in the early 70s with my oldest brother Alan, my older brother Alan.
Okay.
And they went through it, and some of the older cats. It was like raised in Bell Gardens. Henry was a Mexican in a White Boy gang, so I don't know. That's how they started beefing with them. But then, the only problems we ever had problems with was King Cobras. We got along. I had a couple of partners that was in the BG Locos, a couple of Mexican friends, and one of them actually lived with me. Because I remember when the Locals started out, it was a mix of white dudes and Mexican dudes.
I heard that.
Yes, it was at one time. And then, of course, there's really no white people around there anymore, so... And then our kind of legacy, or whatever you want to call it, it carried on till into my, I was an adult still, fucking around, running the streets and, living in Bell Gardens. But we was living on Live Oak Street. Me and one of my other partners that was in the clique, they called him Okie. We had a house right next to each other on Live Oak. That was over by the crest.
Was he from Oklahoma?
Street. No, it was just Okie. He was white, you know what I mean? So Okies were white, you know what I mean?
Gotcha. Okay. Because I know Bell Gardens has a long history with people moving in from Oklahoma, right?
Yeah, Oklahoma and Arkansas and stuff like that. Yeah, a lot of people, yeah. But there were names like Okie, and then we had my other brother, Cheek too, and I was like Stony. There was Trucker, kind of white boy names. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everybody. It kind of lasted for a long time there on Quinn Street. We hung out there for years. Quinn and Gellhart. And then Shannon Hatley, he was, we knew the Hatleys real good because his older brother, Jay Hatley, which went to prison and died in prison. When Shannon got shot and killed around the corner in front of Jerry's Liquor, he was only 15 years old. And what it was, he had long blonde hair. He was kind of stocky, but there was a friend of mine named Salt. They called him Jimmy. His name's Jimmy, but his last name's Salt. Sult, like German, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Who I think the Cobras thought that Shannon was Jimmy, and that's when they shot Shannon in the neck.
Oh, my God. And
they killed Shannon right there in front of Jerry's Liquor. Because I think they mistook him for Jimmy. Crazy times. And then there was a time they was doing drive-bys coming down Quinn Street, and we was hanging out in front of. There was, several of us out there hanging out, and here they come. We knew they was coming back, so everybody kind of got like shotguns, was hiding in the bushes because we used to hang out at this one pad. And as they drove by again, they blasted on us. It shot. I got shot. But it was only buckshot. It wasn't like bullets, you know what I mean? Okay. They was using a shotgun. So it hit 4 of us, and the other people jumped out, shot out their back windows. It was crazy time as a child, you know what I mean? Crazy growing up. I'm lucky I made it through there.
Yeah.
At that time and age. But the other cliques that are around, the Playboys were around at that time. You seen Florence's 13, but that really wasn't their area, but they would be over there tagging and shit. But that, I don't remember. I had no beefs with. We never had no problems with them because they was like over from Vernon and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's how it all started. Once my brothers got old enough to join the Army and moved on, us littler dudes kind of took over, and that's where it went. And I was surprised. I wasn't really shocked because, in prison, people from that area have heard about them. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But everybody now is like my age, or they've died off, or they went to prison and moved out of state. But it lasted I bet it lasted I'm giving a rough estimate here, from 74 to 94,
Yeah.
Because, we were still in that area and stuff.
It's interesting. Why do you think we're still talking about them 30 years later? I mean, they obviously had such a big impact. Why do you think we're still talking about them 30 years later?
I take it because it was only white clique that was around there. But back then, you got to keep in mind that half of Bell Gardens was white back then. Mm-hmm. Back in the late 70s, up until the early 80s, that's when people started. The white people started leaving the area. You know what I mean? So there was a lot of white people back then. I take it from the history, like the police department's got the history on us and stuff like that. The Bell Gardens Review, there was that time when we got shot on Quinn, that was in the papers. I think that's why it was, good, but we faded away. But a lot of them other gangs are still around, like the Cobras. And I don't know about the Playboys. I don't ever see not that I'm over in Bell Gardens very often, but I go there once in a while because one of my friends still lives there. And I'll go visit him. Mm-hmm. And he's an OG, and he still lives over there behind the hamburger stand by Ford Park. And we used to go to play football, the older cats that was in our clique would go play the Ford Park Posse in football. We never had no beefs with them either.
Yeah, tell me about Ford Park Posse, what you remember about them. Yeah.
I don't really remember didn't know him personally, hey, that's so-and-so, like I did the King Cobra dudes. But some of the older cats that used to be in the clique, they kind of knew him. That's how they would set football games up. And we would just go play football. I was the littler dude. I was younger than most of us. You know what I mean? I was like the younger one. When you're 14, 15, 2 or 3 years younger than you, was like, he's too young. You know what I mean? So if I'm 15, the other guys are 16, 17, 18. It's like, they kind of knew the Ford Park Posse. But I didn't see a lot of graffiti from the Ford Park Posse, so they wasn't well known. I think there was a time when the white boys there. I mean, it's all you've seen everywhere was the graffiti that they would leave behind. And my brother's the one who did all that. You know what I mean? Yes.
Damn.
Because I don't know who Steve is. Whoever he talked about being one of the co-founders or whatever. unless his name is Stevie Moses, which I doubt, then it's probably not.
Okay.
It was my brother Alan. They called him the Sheik, and there was another dude called Terry, and then he was Junkie. Even though he wasn't a junkie, he just looked like one back in them days. They were kids, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was his name. And the Mexican dude that was in there named Henry, they called him Polak.
Okay.
Yeah, and there was another.
Yeah. Poland.
Yeah.
Polish.
Yeah, Polish name, but he was straight Mexican. You know what I mean? And Henry's well known around Bell Gardens because he used to be in all the rock bands that played up on Purdy Street and stuff.
You know what? I've heard about those rock bands.
Yeah, over at Alan Cagle's house. We'd be little and we'd be partying in them at Alan Cagle's pad. He would have like older kegs. Back then you could do it, but now you can't. And sometimes they would charge, sometimes it was free. But you go in there and Henry would be up there in his band playing guitar, and I was just a little tight at the time, and be partying down, man.
How cool!
Kegs of beer and shit.
Damn. Oh man, those sound like some fun times. Even though it was wild at times, that must have been a fun time.
Yeah, there were some good times, man. And it wasn't all bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we were just basically come from broken homes. Nobody was rich, didn't have a lot of money. So we just did whatever we could do. I remember one time the cops they was praising us because we was fucking raiding avocado trees and we was selling the avocados in front of Super A food and stuff like that. So the cops said, "Well, at least you guys are not getting in trouble," so they let us do it.
Talk about a little bit, maybe you can, about the connection between Bell Gardens and Commerce. Do you know anything about how, I heard a lot of Commerce people, got busted into Bell Gardens. Do you know anything about that?
There was, back when I went to BG High School, Commerce, all the kids from Commerce got busted into Bell Gardens Intermediate, junior high school, because Commerce didn't have no schools back then, I guess. It was all the Montebello Unified School District, so they busted them into to Bell Gardens Intermediate, and then the high school and all that stuff. But other than as far as that goes, I don't know too much about that. But I remember about busting all the kids from schools over to Bell Gardens.
Oh, okay.
Because it's all under Montebello's Unified School District. Montebello, Commerce, Bell Gardens. So that's why they bust them in there.
Gotcha. Okay. What do you remember in detail any rumbles that you heard about? There was a famous rumble, I think, at a football game between, I think it was the King Cobras and another group, and it ended up with gunfire.
There was a few scraps that was after the football games. I didn't go to the football games much, but we never had no problems there. But it's the Cobras, it could have been them, and I know they didn't get along with Playboys. Nobody really got along with the King Cobras, though.
Okay.
As far as I know.
Were they the most feared or just the most hated?
We wasn't. They were just the most, graffiti and crossing you out and that kind of stuff. So, but we wasn't like a gang that was highly structured and from hierarchy. We were just a bunch of kids that didn't have nothing to fucking do, running the streets, didn't have much money, and just hanging around each other. You know what I mean? We had to. Because it was becoming so dominant with the Hispanics, we had to stick together, But a lot of white boys would say, "I'm from Bell Gardens," but they're really not from the Bell Gardens white boys. Even though you're white, you're from Bell Gardens, don't mean you was part of our clique. If you didn't hang out on Quinn Street with us, then you wasn't part of the really. We didn't care if you come over and hung out with us, but you didn't have a nickname and all that kind of shit. You wasn't out tagging the walls and stuff like that.
Okay. Do you remember? Go ahead.
Listen, back in them days, there was no opportunity in Bell Gardens. Only, there was none of those, like they got stores now there, and some of the restaurants and businesses and the bicycle club and all that. All that stuff was not there. The only opportunity you had to go to work from somewhere was like Taco Bell or maybe Taco Quickie. So a lot of the kids from that area they had no opportunities, man. So they stayed on the streets and they ran around and, got in trouble.
Damn. My last question for you: when do you remember it changing from being half white to when you turn around and now I think it's 99.9% Hispanic?
Oh yeah, it is that way now. In the mid '80s is when you really started to notice that there's not many white people around anymore. So I'd say around '84, '83. All the white people were moving out. There was sparsely white people still around because I was around. So my partner was around, but I'd say completely by the end of the 80s, everybody was gone. Because I bought a house. I bought that new housing tract right there on Gage Avenue. When they first built those houses, I bought one of those houses right there on Gage Avenue.
Oh, no shit.
Yes, I owned one of those houses, but it was so close to the hood that, you know, I couldn't keep the cops from finally starting to mess with me because everybody was wanting to hang out at the pad and, you know what I mean, do their thing. So every time someone left my house, the cops would harass them and pull them over. And I was, you know, they was pulling me over all the time. And I was fortunate. I got lucky and went to work when I was young, like 18. I got a good job, and I stayed there for 6 years, even though I was still in the hood. I was one of the guys that went to work and didn't go to prison at an early age. I stayed with that job, and you know, that's what got me working, my working ethics. You know what I mean? And it was right there in Commerce too. I worked at, but I bought that house. I finally had to sell it because the cops just wouldn't leave me alone.
Damn.
The sheriffs.
So was the sheriff? So it used to be the Bell Gardens. Well, it's the Bell Gardens Police now, right? So they were sheriffs at one point.
It was sheriffs at one time, and the Bell Gardens Police. They got their own police department. But right where they patrol down Gage Avenue, it's sheriffs and Bell Gardens because sheriffs patrol Commerce, so they got jurisdiction right down Gage Avenue, and I lived on the Commerce side.
Damn. Okay. Wow.
That's why it was the sheriffs over there fucking me all the time. I never really got harassed by BGPD.
It was the sheriffs mostly, huh?
Yeah.
Damn. And would they just roll up on you and, you know, I mean...
Roll up on me. They'd be waiting for me to come down the street in my truck. I remember one time I was coming out of court and they got me on the way home from court.
Damn.
Yeah. Fucking assholes, man. So I had to move. You know what I mean? That's when I moved over to Bellflower. That's what happened to a lot of the white boys around there. They even went to prison and, you know, when they got out, they got the hell out of Dodge or whatever the case may be. Like all my bro, I'm the only one left in my family that lives over in this area.
Damn.
I'm just a working dude now, so everything's all good now. I just nothing go. You know what I mean?
That's good, man.
I'm old, so
I appreciate Take care, man. I'll talk to you soon. Yeah.
I appreciate you doing this, man. That's a pretty good thing.
Yeah.
I'll definitely keep it up. Good luck with it. Okay?
Yeah, thank you, man. Yeah, I just been hearing about the BG White Boys all my life and other things, and I'm like, you know what, man? Now that I have a platform, let me see if I can bring some light to this and you know let some original members.
I sent links to like the very person that really actually started that clique. You know, and he was tripping out on it. He read it and watched your TV thing and all that.
Nice.
I'll make sure they get a copy of it too.
Yeah, thank you, my man. Well, hey, you enjoy the rest of your Sunday, all right? I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Take care, bro. All right. Thank you for tuning in to Dusty Vision TV. Please hit that like button if you have not already. And if this is your first time joining the channel and you like what you hear, please hit that subscribe button. And if you enjoyed this video, you just might appreciate this bonus clip I'm about to play for you right now. Rob G, good to see you again, man.
What's up? How you doing, Dusty?
I'm doing great, doing great. Tell everybody where we're at, dude.
We're right here at the Stardust for the Winter Wonder Jam Toy Drive.
Tell me about the toy drive and how long you've been doing it.
We've been doing it for 10 years. Well, 10 years in total, but, you know, because of the pandemic and my situation, we kind of stopped for 2 years. But we're back at it again. Yeah, you know, we're trying to get back to the kids. And, you know, that's what we do every year.
Yeah, we have a few artists performing. Who's some of the people that are performing tonight?
We're going to have Monstro, Squishy, Block Live. There's a few other artists, you know, then we're going to have Chelito, the host. You know, it's going to be cool.
Yeah.
Be cool.
Why did you start this?
You know what? I grew up in Bell Gardens. A lot of kids in the city, you know, they come from a family that, you know, sometimes can't afford Christmas, can't afford gifts. And, you know, now that I'm older, you know, I want to give back to the city that I come from. And, you know, it's not a lot of toys, but at least some of the kids will get something, you know.
That's dope, dude. So are we going out tomorrow and handing out to the neighborhood, or how does it work?
Yes, pretty much.
Tell me, I'm your elf, dog. You're Santa, I'm your elf.
Tomorrow, I'll be dressing up as Santa Claus. We're going to be going down. We're going to go to Bell Gardens, and Cudahy, or, you know, wherever we could go and just pass out toys. We're just going to show up to a spot and just start passing it out to the kids right there.
I'll be right there with you, man. Yeah. Lunch is on me. It's going to be a great time, dude. Why Did you when you were growing up, did you have a rough Christmas where you didn't get toys as well? Is this why you're giving back, or was you? Talk to me about your Christmases growing up.
Honestly, man, Christmas, yeah, like as a little kid, I do remember getting some kind of gifts, right? But yeah, there was a few years as I got, maybe I was like 7 or 8 years old. I remember Christmas, like everybody would be like, oh, you know, I'm gonna get this, that. That year I didn't get anything, and you know, I'm 33 years old now, and it's like I still go back to those years, you know, that I didn't get anything, and you know, I just want to give back to like whoever is struggling or whatever, you know.
If you can get one Christmas gift, either for you or for the world, if Rob G could have one ultimate Christmas gift, what would it be?
Just health, man.
Facts, right?
You know,
that's me
health,
too, dog.
You know,
I want my family to be healthy, my friends to be healthy, because shit is crazy right now.
It is, man. I always go back to what I had, man. It really opened my eyes, man. 2 years ago today, man, I was still fighting for my life, you know.
My friend had leukemia here, for anyone who has never seen our original interview, and thankfully he fought it, and you know he's doing good now. But it was rough there for a minute.
Yes, and you know, and that really did open my eyes. Like it's crazy. Like I know, like sometimes, like I feel like I repeat myself, you know. But no, that experience really did open my eyes. Like you know, we just got to be grateful for everything that we have. We really do, because you might think you're struggling. There's somebody else that has it worse than you.
Man, who do we have, dog? What's your name, man?
My name is Gmo.
Gmo
from BG.
Bell Gardens, California.
Yes,
One of my favorite cities in the whole wide world. There's 3 cities that are near and dear to my heart: Bell Gardens, Long Beach, and Downey. And we happen to be in Downey, which is not too far from Bell Gardens.
It's right over the bridge.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. When I lived in Bell Gardens, and when I moved to Downey, I felt like I moved to Beverly Hills, man. Back in the day, there was actually white people in Downey. There's not too many more white people here, but when I moved here, it was all white, and I was like, oh my God, I'm in fucking Beverly Hills 90210 shit. But talk to me about Bell Gardens, man. What was your life like growing up, dude?
Well, shit. I mean, I grew up like a typical like grandma's house. You feel me? Like all the uncles, grandma, all the cousins, like really big family unit, all stuffed like sardines in a little, you know, 3-bed house.
Oh yeah.
You know, like 3 beds that's not a lot when there's like 10 plus people. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, that's pretty much it. Grew up playing football.
Yeah, Bell Gardens.
Played football for the longest time. Shout out to BG football.
See, I played for Bell. I played Pop Warner for Bell.
Okay. Yeah, I played Pop Warner for BG. Little known fact, my team, like the team 2010, I believe, for the BG youth football, we're the first ones to win like the whole championship. We won like the whole shit, like undefeated. That was cool.
Nice.
Since then, I felt like, you know, very, very proud to be from BG.
I love Bell Gardens.
Championship mentality. Did something for the city back then. So now, you know, a little older, things are different. I still keep that same mentality of like trying to do something for the city now, you know what I mean? But just through music. So if you listen to my music, you'll hear a lot of references.
Oh, nice. I like that. Give me the good, the bad, and the ugly about growing up in Bell Gardens.
Good, bad, the ugly. The good is it's a small city in a big city, right? So BG is very tight knit. There's a riverbed on one side of it and a riverbed on the other side of it. So BG itself is pretty like secluded, you know what I mean? Like it's a very small town, but it's like what, like 10, 15 minutes from downtown LA, you know what I mean? 20 minutes with traffic. So like it's a little city in a big city, you get what I'm saying? So that's cool, that's good. The bad, I would say it's a low income area, so you know what comes with like low income areas, right? There's a lot of
Poverty.
Yeah, there's poverty, there's, you know, gang influence, there's drug influence, you know what I mean? Like I said, we're not too far from LA, right? The ugly, shit. I don't think there's too much ugly about BG, you know what I mean?
Most beautiful woman in the world. When I moved to Bell Gardens, let me let these people pass real quick. Hello. Hola. When I moved to Bell Gardens, that's where I first fell in love with Latina women. I was like, oh my God, what is this?
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. So not much ugly about Bell Gardens, right?
Nah, definitely not.
Kind of agree with that.
It's beautiful.
Even though it's the hood, it's still it's beautiful, man. I have nothing but great memories about Bell Gardens. BGI or Suva?
BGI.
Yeah.
That question came up.
Me too,
on
baby.
I
think that might have been me.
Yeah, was that
on
you?
the show? That might have been me because we kind of differentiate Bell Gardens. Did you go to BGI or did you go to Suva? Right?
Yeah.
Back in the day.
There's only one high school, so everyone by default got to go to the high school. Yeah, for sure. The middle schools, they were split. So yeah, BGI,
baby. Bell Gardens Intermediate. Yeah. Such a good time. I went there in the late 80s, early 90s. So. Such a good time, man. So you grew up on Ira and Florence, is that what you said?
Yeah, Ira and like Fry Street, which is the first street from Florence.
Yeah. So what's around there? Talk to me what's around there. There's a supermarket that always changes names. There's a Sam's Burger. It's still Sam's Burger, I think, right?
Yep.
Yeah, still Sam's Burger.
BG Clothing was actually across the street on Florence, but then it moved to Downey, and then it came back. And when it came back, it's right there, like by the 7-Eleven. Y'all know where the 7-Eleven is? Mm-hmm. Right there on Florence. It's like right there. So shout out BG Clothing. That's what's around there.
Mm-hmm. And we have not too many people know. Not to cut you off. Not too many people know. We have, I think, the last standing Pioneer Chicken in Bell Gardens.
Second. There's one I believe in East Los.
Oh, okay. There's still one other one, huh?
Somewhere in LA. I think it's
Pioneer
East Los.
Chicken, man.
Yeah. BG got the other one.
Jesus. I think I had a stroke or a heart attack when I was 9 because I used to eat that like every week and shit. I think I had a mini heart attack.
Yeah, bro. You gotta get the chicken strips, the 3-piece with the barbecue.
Fire, right? I know. Fire. To this day, I have to stop by. I go to Bell Gardens. One of my favorite restaurants is at Los Altos. It's right there on Eastern and Florence, next to the Food for Less. Right next to the Food for Less, there's a little Mexican restaurant. It's the best. I'm gonna promote them for the rest of my life. They have the best super burrito in the world. $13 is worth it. They catered my wedding, actually. Los Altos and Bell Gardens catered my wedding. I love them that much. So quick shout out to Los Altos. If you live in Bell Gardens right now, go to Los Altos. Tell them DustyVisionTV sent you. Most definitely. But where can we find you, man? Tell everybody what your social media is and where everybody can find you.
Yeah, my social media, I'm most active like on Instagram. That's kind of like the norm nowadays, you know what I mean?
What is it?
My Instagram is non-GMO, non.gmoe.
non.gome, right?
No, GMOE.
Say it again, sorry.
non.gmoe.
Perfect.
Yeah, so non-GMO on Instagram. And then I got music like on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, some on SoundCloud. You know, like where most people get their music nowadays, you can find it. I actually got some new music coming out. We're working on the video right now, so I can't give like a for sure date because I'm waiting on that. But everything else is set in stone. So I'm guesstimating like late January. If we could get it done by late January, that'd be cool. But yeah, expect some new music coming soon.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I came to cause more than bodily harm. Writing this now with my daughter in my arms. Couple thousand in the bank, and for that I'm giving thanks. But no time to celebrate. I ain't stepping on no brakes. Nah, this the beginning. A change of everybody's situation, how we living. I tell them hold on, it's only gonna take a minute. I killed a whole game once I'm finally in it. Like 25 to life, I put it all in a sentence. Pound of rock like I'm Bettis, that's your girl. I'm a fetish, I'm a vegan chasing lettuce. I'ma get it till it's got. I'm jamming with the flames, you can see me at the top, but I ain't getting knocked. This is just a collection of poverty, is it stressing? This is an apology, I'm sorry for projecting.
What?
This is being grateful for making me your selection. This is trust issues, I do not want your injection. Non-GMO, I keep it more than organic. Young mixed Hispanic who grew up not speaking Spanish. They make it hard to manage. I think I'm losing my balance. A lot discovered my talents. Not everyone want a piece. And all I want to do is find a little bit of peace. Hustle every day until my salary increase. Stay up on my toes, I don't care about a crease. I'm a beast on these beats, got the streets going. Sheesh. They need my release from the south and the east. I'm just being myself, I ain't worried about a niche. Get me on a song, it's gonna help you with your reach. Got the world in my palms like I'm chilling at the beach. From this moment on, I ain't looking back. I'm Andre with the flow. I just need a couple stacks, baby. We can take it slow, or I could break your back. Look, whatever you need, just know that I don't ever lack. In fact, I'm running laps around these lanes. I'm ashamed to say that we play the same game, though I'm miles ahead, only focused on my lane.
Yeah.
Look how far we came from staying above the rain. I'm praying we see some change and glass causing some stains. You feeding for all that cane. And I ain't talking chicken, no, it's finger looking good. I hope you beat your addiction and kick that shit for good. I promise it's more to life than staying in your hood. Everything you would do if you had another chance. Maybe things were different, had a better circumstance. One thing you can't change is what happened in the past. There's only one way forward and that future's moving fast. At last I see past this fantasy. I plant the seed, knowing I won't see the tree. Indeed it's me, kicking you this frequency. From 97 way up till infinity. I feel the breeze, I flow with ease. You notice these, got a problem with it, you can hold these. I'm the best on the field, for real. I started from the nosebleeds, but now they know me. Usually low key, now I'm flying in the sky like my soul is free. Bleeding from my mouth, spitting poetry, giving words of advice like your OG. GMOE is a name, don't wear it out. Right about now, they want me to bow down, drown in the crowd and try to not make a sound. But fuck all of that, I'm brown and I'm proud. Opinion is out loud, eliminate all doubt. The best in my town, the weight of my crown is something they can't hold. Don't mess with the cash flow.
What?
I'm stuck in the fast forward. Sometimes I need to chill, feel how I feel. Remember the reason why I'm climbing on top this hill. In a world full of fake, I need you to keep it real. About to make meals, our wounds time couldn't heal. There we go, preaching again, take them to church. This is my best, this is my worst. This is invest in time till it hurts. The best in the West, just peel back your ego. One of a kind, my bro, the only sequel. Rest, wait in line, I'm coming back for my people. They couldn't see the vision, now they peeking through the peephole.
Bell Gardens.
Oh, yo, that's
Bell Gardens.
That's my time if y'all was rocking with it. Yo, my IG is non-GMO, NON.GOE. Please give me a follow if y'all fucking with it. I appreciate y'all for listening.
Really looking forward to catching up with this gentleman today. I got a chance to meet him at the Easy E celebration in the city of Compton not too long ago. And anyone who knows me knows I'm fascinated with history, especially urban history, Chicano history, black history. And I'm really excited to talk with this gentleman today about the Pachuco lifestyle, the Zoot Suit history, and not only that, but his life as well. Ladies and gentlemen, on the line, I have Pachuco Manny. What's up, man?
Hey, órale, brother. What's up?
Nothing much.
What an honor. What an honor.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you joining the show. And what I want to do is I want to talk a little bit about your growing up, your upbringing, and then we'll parlay that into the history of the Pachuco and the Zoot Suit lifestyle. And then we'll end it off with giving you a chance to promote all your businesses. How does that sound?
Oh, yeah, brother. I'll give you my bringing up. Great. You know, like quick and easy, so we can talk about.
Yeah. Well, let's go all the way back. Let's take it all the way back. Okay. Tell everybody where you grew up.
Okay, I was born in 1948, Christmas Eve, in Mexicali, Mexico. Family moved to Chino, California, and in 1958, moved to Paramount, right next to Compton. Brought up in Paramount, graduated from Paramount High School. In fact, the new Raider coach, Antonio Pierce. Grew up in Compton, but he graduated from Paramount High in 1996. So
yep, I actually graduated in 96. I graduated in 96 myself, and I played against him for 2 years straight. He was the linebacker, and I was the blocking guard. And man, I played against that. So it was a trip seeing his name. I'm like, whoa, that's it was almost surreal. Yeah. I was like, that's pretty dope, man.
Where'd you play?
I went to Downey High School.
Oh, Downey. Oh, yeah, the Vikings.
Yep, right up the block.
So, so I'm proud of Antonio Pierce from Paramount High. Once a Pirate, always a Pirate. And that's the way I represent Paramount.
Yeah.
I always wear my Paramount Pirates T-shirt, and I got a hat says Paramount on it. So they call me Mr. Paramount or the mayor of Paramount. But anyway, yeah, I graduated 67. I'm 75. I'll be 75 Christmas Eve.
Okay.
So I've lived a good life.
Yeah.
I survived the Vario in Paramount, and I survived not going to Vietnam during the Vietnam era. I was in the Navy from 69 to 75.
Wow.
And
thank you for your service.
Yeah, thank you. I played football, basketball, baseball in high school, but my game was basketball. I played against some legends from Compton and Centennial. I was all-league first team my senior year with Compton. Some Dwight Taylor, Ronaldo Brown, Sleepy Montgomery from Centennial, Mickey Puritan. He's a legend, running back. I played against all those guys. So, I made an all-league first team with Dwight Taylor, one of the greatest guards at Compton. Of
course.
So, and I ended up playing 4 years of basketball for the Navy. That's what I did in the Navy.
What years were you in the Navy again? Remind me.
69 to 73.
60. Yeah. So that was at the height of the Vietnam War.
That was.
What were you going through back then? Were you afraid to get drafted? I mean, what was a young, like at that time?
Yeah. Okay. I didn't know if you were in a hurry, but yeah, real quick.
Oh, no. We got about, if you're okay with it, we have about 40, 45 minutes. So I definitely want to take it slow.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. I'm not, I thought you were, but no, that's cool. I'll make things quick to avoid the draft, I went to Compton JC for like a year, and I didn't really like school. Then when I didn't go to Compton anymore, well, actually, you're going to get drafted, especially Vietnam. So I got a letter from the Navy, come see the recruiter, and I said, well, Army, I'll probably be in a foxhole in Vietnam and not come home, but at least if Navy, I'll be on a ship and hopefully cruising around it and have a greater survival. And it ended up, I was in Brunswick, Georgia for 4 years. Just travel like a base team, travel team. Played it all over Florida, Alabama, Mississippi. So I saw racism because our basketball team, the coach was a white guy, 6 brothers, 2 Mexicans, me and the ball boy, Mexicans, and I'll never forget, walked into a restaurant and all them rednecks over there from Georgia like turned to look like, wow. What am I doing? What am I doing with they use the N-word over there.
Yeah.
And I mean, I didn't hear them say it, but that's what the way it is. You know how it is, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia. Yeah. And they were like, oh, yeah, 6 brothers, a Mexican and a white coach. So I experienced it, but I wasn't brought up that way. I was like, just a normal person. I wasn't taught hatred or racism or anything. In high school, I grew up more with a white friends than I did Mexican. Yeah, and I just like I said, I survived Paramount Vario because all the homies were either sniffing glue, getting high and all that. I just kept to myself. So God is good. God is good.
Yeah. What was Paramount like back in the 50s and 60s? Give us an idea.
Man. I'll tell you right now, like Downey, Lakewood High, all white. Yep. And maybe 1 or 2, 3, 4 Mexicans, and that was it. That's what we entered. Like Lakewood High School last month asked me to go speak on the Zoo riot. And what an honor. They heard about me because I do the Zoo riot cruise downtown LA. And City of El Monte asked me to go speak on the Zoo riot. Lakewood High, I spoke to the whole student class, during lunch, the whole school. And I told them, I go, man, I'm just in shock because I remember playing Lakewood and it was all white. And now it's like 60% Hispanics and red.
That's how it is with Downey. When I was going there, it was mostly white.
Same thing. Yeah. And Downey's changed. I go by there sometime when school's out and you see a lot of Hispanics. Yeah. And blacks or Samoans, like Paramount Samoans, blacks, you know, the whites are the minority now at Paramount. Yeah. So
when did you notice a change? They call it white flight, I guess. But when did you notice a change from white to Latino, Hispanic, Samoan?
I believe my brother graduated. He graduated in '76, and I think it was like the first flag player that played at Paramount in like '76, '77. I want to say. Of course, I was married and gone, so I didn't. But I would come around and go through the Barrio Cruiser just to reminisce my days growing up here. And they probably the late '80s they started to really merge, different ethnic groups coming in.
Yeah.
So I think the '80s and the hip hop and all that changed things.
Yeah.
And that was great being there. I went to the historical significance of it, so that's why I was there. And I even got invited because I was there, the Crenshaw Parade, the day after Christmas. And the lady that runs it, she invited me to be in the parade with my 33 Chevrolet. So I get noticed a lot because of the Zoot Zoot and the history of the Zoot Zooters.
You spent most of your childhood in foster care.
I spent most of my childhood in foster care. I was adopted by a lady who knew my mother. And what I didn't know back then was this lady actually had a plan of adopting me, my brothers, and other kids for monetary gain. And her plan was to adopt kids, get the money from CPS, take the money, buy drugs, and make more money. So if she got $1,000 from CPS, she would take that money, buy drugs, and that $1,000 would become $2,500 to $3,000.
Wow.
As a kid, we had everything in terms of clothing and food, but there was no nurturing, there was no love, there was no responsibility for us to go to school and make something of ourselves. And because she used drugs as a way of life, that is how her daughter, that is how my brothers were introduced to drugs. And when you introduce drugs into a family, just as you introduce alcoholism or anything else, it becomes the norm in that family. And it's called breaking the barriers. So barriers were broke, and, those young kids in that family felt like doing drugs was okay. I could remember when they started smoking weed. I could remember when they started taking pills. I could remember when they started, smoking little pieces of Sherm, and then it turned into big pieces of Sherm. And pretty soon they were addicted to it. And because of that situation, it ruined a whole generation of family and people. And I say family and people because we were brought together as a family as foster kids, but we were basically different people living in that house, who, if it had not been like that, we probably could have, grown up to be responsible adults and created a family life that was beneficial to society.
Well, you did.
I was lucky. I thank God for just, touching the heart and my mind and my soul the way he has in terms of how I view life. I've always been able to decipher what's right and what's wrong. I don't know if you remember the show on TV called The Courtships of Eddie's Father.
No, I don't. I'll look it up while you're talking.
The character was Bill Bixby, and it was him and his son. And he had a maid. It was an Asian lady. She was his maid, and I forget, her name was Miss Livingston. And the relationship between Bill Bixby and his son was the kind of relationship that I hoped for. I never had a father in my life, but I always said, if I become a father, I'm going to be like this guy in this TV show. And then there were other TV shows on TV that I saw and wanted my life to be like. And I held those things close to my heart. And then when I got to be a teenager, I started making friends, and then I started hanging out at other people's house who I felt like this should be my house. And I gravitated towards those people. I was open to change because I knew that the life that I was living or the situation that I was living in was not beneficial for me. And this is the thing that kids, young kids, they don't lack. They don't have that intuitiveness to understand that you're in a dangerous situation and you need to remove yourself. Now, understandably so, because they're kids. You know, usually when kids are in environments like that, they say, hey, this is my environment and this is where I live. This is where I love. This is how I'm supposed to be treated, whether it's good or bad. And I'm here. I thank God that I was able to have a conscience that gave me, you know, the idea that this is not how life was supposed to be, you know. And I tried to do everything in my power to remove myself from that situation. And I did. It took a while after me wanting to kill myself as a 13-year-old, after being physically beat by my oldest sister for probably the 100th time, and having been physically beat by my foster mother, who put a knife to my throat and told me she'd kill me because I lost some drug money.
Wow.
That she made me whole. I used to hold drug money until I got an understanding of what the drug money meant and what it was for. And then I told her to her face, I'm not holding that money anymore. There was the time when her and the drug dealer got into an argument and they surrounded our house right over there on Colden between Vermont and Hoover with Doberman pictures and Uzi shotguns. We had to hide under the bed. And then one time a gentleman broke in our house looking for drugs and he put a gun to my little niece's head. And I heard her screaming and I woke up and I ran out of the room and this gentleman ran right by me with a gun in his hand. I was his size. Had I got there a little earlier, who's to say he wouldn't have shot me? Shortly after this, I was playing with some buddies of mine in my backyard and we ended up shooting a BB gun and it went across the street and burst out the front window of this house. The guy who lived there came to my house and he didn't call the police because he knew what that challenge was. And he told me, you're going to pay for my window and you're going to pay for it by working with me. So that Saturday, I showed up at his house at 6 o'clock in the morning like he told me. And I went with him to a job site. He was remodeling the bathroom. He told me, I need you to break down these two walls and I'll be back in a couple of hours and then stack the wood over there and we'll see what's going on. He left. I broke down the two walls after I realized that the house wouldn't fall down completely. And I stacked the wood to the side. He came back. He said, good job. The lady who lived in the house came out to the backyard to talk to this gentleman and she told him, Mr. Burnett is his name. And she said, I know this is not your son because I've known you a long time, but he looks like you. And he looked back at the lady and he said, this is my son. And from that day on, my life changed because I had somebody in my life who I needed more than anything. You know, yeah. The house I lived in, there was not a father or any male role models in there. The only people that came across in that house male were drug addicts. This one drunk guy named Leon who would come every Friday and spend his money on drugs or whatever else they were doing up in that house. But thank God, you know, once I fell to my knees and said a prayer and asked God to get me out of there when I wanted to kill myself, people just started showing up in my life. You know, it started with this gentleman, Mr. Burnett. People on the street would allow me to play in their yard. There were guys down the street who would allow me to come to their house and shoot pool. There was a guy who played football and he would play catch with me. And I didn't know it back then, but, you know, God was making a way for me. He was, you know, giving me ideas and things in my mind that was eventually going to be the thing that saved me, which is when I got a football scholarship to Fresno State out of East LA Junior College after only playing 4 years of sport. I didn't start till I was in the 10th grade at Manuar's High School.
That's dope.
Yes. And it took God 7 years, but he knew that would be the only time that I would go to college and have room, board, food, and an education to change the trajectory of my life.
And you were the only sibling in your family out of 9 total, some biological, some adopted, to earn a college degree, right?
I am the only one that lived in that household that earned a college degree, and the only other kid that has grown up to make something of themselves and give to society is the younger brother that I actually took to college with me when I left. He's doing well.
Before we get started, man, tell everybody where they can find you on YouTube, dude.
Man, the channel is Frank Lewis, the YA Baby. And if you want to hear something different than everything else that's being talked about, go ahead and subscribe to that channel.
What does the term YA Baby mean to you?
It's actually a term that was given to us by staff for a name that they could use derogatory towards us that wasn't against the law. And that was to specifically talk about inmates that were in Fred C. Nellis. The Nellis kids were considered YA babies, being that we were the youngest and most rowdiest in criminal behavior.
I want to talk about Inglewood before we move on. Talk to me about Frank Anton Lewis. I want your perspective on Inglewood. I want the good, the bad, and the ugly of Inglewood. And let's start with the good. What was your favorite thing about growing up in Inglewood?
Oh, that's easy. We weren't like South Central, because I can't remember from the east side of South Central, 118th and San Pedro, where it was drugs, paraphernalia on the ground and trash ain't been taken out in months, to going to a city that was very beautified. Inglewood is a beautiful city, nice homes, beautiful trees, with a very little ghetto that could be considered a ghetto. But I like the diversity. You know, especially now, there's a whole lot more Caucasian to blend in with the Latino and Black that are still around. But as a child, it was the community, like, it all started as the Inglewood chain gang as far as gangs go. And by the time I got to Inglewood, I was already entrenched in that behavior. So the first liking was the fact that all the Bloods got along. It was the Inglewood chain gang that branched off, Center Park, Crenshaw Mafia, and so forth. So the unity, the blood unity is the negative, and the environment upkeeping is the positive. And then if we go to the bad must come with, whenever you get something of too many, it always turns on each other. So the unity, the loyalty that we had in the 90s, that was good. Now it's bad because some sets are warm with each other. Certain individuals are at odds within this internal conflict like it's never been before. That's the bad. The ugly is gentrification and mothers that used to be able to afford to live there and feed their children at the same time could do so. Now with the price of rent going so high, there's people that are homeless. And with the Super Bowl that just passed, talking about ugly, they removed the homeless encampment that was there. So that's ugly to remove something that's been a concrete foundation in this community for the last 40 to 50 years for some Super Bowl money. It ain't like they went and moved them all into, let's go take y'all to this new establishment that we had created for you. They left them for dry. Y'all go to Skid Row. They sent them to St. Julian, just making that population even worse. And that would be the ugly of Inglewood.
You know, some of my favorite content of yours is your politics stuff, your political stuff. I see you're heavy out there in the streets, and you've since moved away from Inglewood. You're now living in, is it okay if I share where you're living now?
Oh, most definitely.
Okay, you're living in Las Vegas now. And I see you, I see you out there campaigning and just and rocking for certain politicians out there. When did you get into politics, and why do you think more of us should pay attention to what's going on out there?
Great question. It started in YTS. They started a program up there, a pilot program, to teach us about voting awareness. This was prior to the Schwarzenegger campaign run for governor. So that like woke me up because at the time I was anything that I could learn, I was trying to learn about that they let it. So that woke up a seed inside of me. Then realizing that laws were changed because of crimes that people my age did. They changed the law from 16 to 14 being able to try a juvenile as an adult in California behind some of our actions. But that was not possible without people voting for that. So that made me think like, wow, everything that is happening to us in this, as far as drug laws, programs in the community, women's rights, that's our mothers. That right there let me know if I wanted to play a role positively in the community, that voting would have to be something that I did. So that sparked knowledge. And then paroling, which was another obstacle for me, that I found out comes directly from voting because we vote for the governor. The governor appoints the head or director of the Department of Corrections. So everybody that's in jail, from the wages that we get paid, from the phone call company that we can use to make the collect calls, all of that is dictated on the people that we put in positions of power. So now we forward it here to Las Vegas, which one of the guys that we just went against in the primaries in June 14th, and he was ousted, and our Democrat was put in to replace him. He actually went out, and it can be verified through Google. I got one of these, I posted it on my YouTube channel, but this guy went and killed the investigative journalist that provided some of the information to us knowledgeable voters about his actions. So that should show us, because we so much like to see things in a gang perspective. And we get it from the politics, from the colors, from the division, from everything comes from a governmental structure. So wanting to be an attorney and going to be an attorney, in my studies for that, I understand that we have the right to vote for judges. I have a child custody case pending. So it's important for me to have the judges that we need in these positions. And we don't even get that. And what's happening in California, what I want my California listeners to really hear, is the district attorney race, which I don't know if it's over or not, but I think it's still coming to where y'all get to vote for y'all DA. That's the most important, district attorney and attorney general. Those are the positions that really hold the people accountable. So if we got a district attorney that's against crimes, like the young African-American lady that I've seen speaking up on, well, bail needs to be taken back, and we need to give, they're basically trying to take away these laws. If you look at the Roe versus Wade, and that statute and constitutional right that women had is gone. That shows you, if they woke up one day and said, hey, let's make slavery legal again, it's bannable. They have the power to amend.
Isn't that scary, bro?
Very much so.
And the fact, what's more scary is that our people,
still have it.
What's more scary is our people just, they don't give a fuck. Like they're just like, this is real, people. We're more worried
I don't
about
even think
what WAC
they're not
100
giving a
saying.
fuck.
Yeah,
I think they're brainwashed into this. If we really deeply look into the Willie Lynch theory, which they let us see,
right?
You know, there's a secret society. Some call it what's that? Whatever these little Jay-Z that was supposed to Illuminati and all the little the Masons and all that. I don't know what name. I hate to put names on things because that gives negative power to something that don't even deserve that. So it all starts with the vote. And if they know, like I went to a town hall and talked to a judge and asked him, and I know who this judge is, and he talked, it's about 70 black people in this church listening to this judge, Beneventure. say he's nobody, yet he's the chief justice. That's the head of all the municipal court judges. And he said, I'm nobody. But if you guys vote for me, I can become somebody. You're the head, though. So I went up to the front and asked him some questions. And afterwards, the guy that was running for DA he was fighting for said, I see you seen through that. And he explained to me. He says, that guy, Benaventure, knows who's going to vote for him because they've been doing it for the last 15 years. So he's not worried about who understands what he's saying because he knows nobody's going to turn out. That's power. If we don't understand, as Crips and Bloods, we don't got that. But as voters, having somebody that wants to be in a position, knowing that we hold your position in our hands, we can dictate what we need to change.